I should have said in the beginning was, this is what you got to do with your hair. And then once you do that, then I'll let you come out there. Okay, and I didn't do that. Again, this was my fault. Okay.
I mean, it also kind of discrepancies when there's other guys on the team.
We're not talking about other guys. I told you before on the phone, we're not going down that route. Why would I go down that route again?
I'm just saying, like, this is stuff that people is telling me.
I don't care what anyone else says. This is between you and me. I'm the head coach. Okay? It doesn't matter what any other player says. It doesn't matter. So again, why would I want you back on the team when we're right back having the same conversation again?
I don't know why we're having this conversation. My hair is cut. I don't know why we're having this conversation.
It's not short enough to be on the baseball team.
My hair is not short enough to be on the team?
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah.
How is that possible?
No.
How is that possible?
I'm the one that sets rules. I can set whatever rule I want.
All right, so y'all just heard that right there, and this goes right in line with everything I've been talking about when it comes to black people in their hair and the discrimination black people face because of their hair. I don't have to give a rundown of all the times I've talked about this. I've talked about it so many times, but one thing that does go under, I would say, unnoticed or not talked about enough is that there are black men or black males, even black boys, I should say, that also can face the same level of discrimination that a black girl or a black woman can face when it comes to hair discrimination in any capacity, especially in the workplace. But as you can see, it happens in schools, it happens in the workplace. Even with this situation, it happens when it comes to sports teams. And this is like a combination because he's at school while playing on a team for a school. But it's more so in the athletics, so we're just going to limit it right down to just simply sports. So so you just heard the audio between these two individuals, and the one on the left, his name is Ashker Akridge. He's 21 years old. He goes to Valdosta State University, and he was having a back and forth with his coach, who was the guy on the left, whose name is Greg Gilliams. And you basically, I'm sure that Ashker actually was recording this unbeknownst to the coach, because it's not like he would just have it out in the open that he actually was recording him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said what he said. And y'all heard the exchange. And one of the things that stuck out to me in the exchange at the end was basically the coach saying, I can make the rules whatever I want to make them, and you know, your hair is too long to be on the team. He literally was about to cut this guy, this 21-year-old, from the team because he felt his hair was too long. Now you see a picture of him right here on the left, and those are his locks. But if you notice, he's wearing a JSU jersey, not a Valdosta State. And that's because he transferred from JSU or Jackson State and went to Valdosta. I personally would have just stayed at Jackson State. Jackson State, as you know, is an HBCU. Valdosta State is a PWI. I just probably would have just stayed right there at Jackson State, but that's neither here nor there. And this is the occurrence. So I'm going to read the article, and it's going to give us some more details and information about this. And there's also some other things I wanted to bring up as it pertains not just so much to the story, but another story that was wildly popular for the same type of thing. A Georgia college's white baseball manager is under fire after allegedly telling a black player he couldn't play on the team because his hair was too long and didn't conform to the rules set by the coach. Valdosta State University's head baseball coach, Greg Gilliams, was secretly recorded by former player Ashker Akridge during a meeting in the coach's office, where Akridge questioned Gilliams' reasoning for kicking him off the team based on his hair length. In a video posted to TikTok by Akridge with the caption Valdosta State University 2023 or 1945, a player tells the coach he was always respectful and always complied with the strict hair policy. If you complied with what I said, you got your hair cut and I wouldn't have to keep telling you about it, the coach says, suggesting there were multiple times he told the player to chop off his long hair, which really, if you look at this picture, is not that long. They make it seem like this guy's hair is all the way down his back. Although neither individual is identified in the video, a source told WALB that it was Akridge and Gilliams. Gilliams, age 61, then takes partial blame for not giving Akridge, age 21, clear instructions on how to wear his hair on the baseball team, but is still adamant that he was correct in kicking the college student off the team. See, there's the contradiction. And you heard it in audio, he literally told him, I know I wasn't clear in giving you the instructions on how everything worked, but I'm still going to kick you off the team anyway. That's really, in my opinion, a violation of your own guidelines and policies. And when usually that happens, some kind of consequence or penalty needs to go to the so-called enforcer of said policy, because now you're just making stuff up as you go, as you also heard in the video or in the audio, because he says, I can make whatever rules that I want. Basically, I'm white and I say so. In all fairness to you, here's where I failed. What I should have done from the very beginning, and I didn't do it. This is my fault. And I could see how I gave you the wrong impression. So I'm not going to totally blame you, because it takes two with everything Gilliam also says in the clip. What I should have said at the very beginning was that you got to do that. This is what you got to do with your hair. And then once you do that, I will let you come out there. And I didn't do that. Akridge was first recruited by FIU in 2019, then played for Jacksonville State University during his freshman season in 2022. Okay, let me rephrase what I just said. I thought it was Jackson State. So there's a Jacksonville State down in Florida. I don't know if Jacksonville State is an HBCU or not. Someone can correct me down in the comments. He says played for Jacksonville State University before his freshman season in 2022 before he transferred to Valdosta State. He attempts to point out quote-unquote discrepancies in Gilliam's policy, as other players also had long hair and weren't kicked off the team, but the coach quickly shoots it down. I'm willing to bet they were probably PC. We are not talking about the other guys. I told you before on the phone, we are not going down that route. Why would I go down this route again? Gilliam's ass. Again, is that I'm white and I say so thing that's kicking up. I don't care what anybody else says. This is between you and me. I'm the head coach. It doesn't matter what any other player says. So again, why would I want you back on the team when we are right back to having the same conversation again? He goes on to say, my hair is cut. I don't know why we are having this conversation, Akridge says, before the coach tells him it's not short enough for the team. He goes on to say, how is that possible? Akridge asks, with Gilliam's saying it's his rules and he can make them however he wants. Well, here's the thing. You messed up your own guideline policy by not telling your player all the so-called rules that you had in place. You basically was making stuff up. So my thing is this: why even have a policy in place? You might as well toss the rule book out the window. If that's the case, if you just making stuff up as you go. He says, I'm the one that set the rules. I can set whatever rule I want, Gilliam says. He says, I want to be treated just like everybody else. What do you mean? Akridge says as his voice begins to crack with emotion. And this is the part where I wish he did not do that. He said his voice begins to crack, and y'all can kind of hear it in the video. It sounds like his voice was getting into that meek and mild type of range. He didn't keep up a more strong, domineering voice to go toe to toe with the coach, basically giving the coach all of the power. And the coach saw that and he played on that. That's why the coach kept going. He didn't back down. He says, if you want to be treated like everybody else, then follow the rules I give you. Keywords, I give you. Because apparently, based on what I'm hearing from the player, these rules don't seem like they're applying to everybody else but him. Conversation over. Wild Boars could not allow me to put you back on this baseball team. There's no way, it ain't gonna happen. The conversation is over. I said it on the phone. At the end of the video, Akridge shared a photo of himself in a car with his hair just below his ears, followed by a white picture for Valdosta, whose hair appears to be flowing past down his collar. The TikTok video has been seen over 464,000 times in 3 days. Valdosta State, an NCAA Division II public school, released a statement after the video went viral, saying it is looking into the matter and will make staff changes if a violation did occur. In keeping with the Valdosta State University non-discrimination policy, the university is committed to maintaining a fair, respectful, and non-discriminatory environment for all, or so they say. The VSU Office of Human Resources is conducting a comprehensive inquiry into the current matter, and it will address any personnel actions that are deemed to violate university policy if the inquiry reveals anything. We are progressing through the required due process procedures, the school said, according to WALB. Now here's a more recent picture of the player. Now the other one, of course, he was an older one because again, he was wearing the JSU jersey. But this one right here is more recent from what I'm gathering, because this one pops up a lot when it comes to this situation. But if you look right here, his hair is shorter, like the locks are a lot shorter. So it looks like, I don't know if he did end up cutting his hair. Me personally, I wouldn't have done it. But see, the thing is, because he probably was there on a scholarship, they literally held all the power. So it was almost like one of the things, well, if you don't do what I say for you to do, then you can't play. That means you lose your scholarship. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to drop out of college. And then I don't know what you're going to do. And that's what I mean when I tell you they have all of this power. And he knew that. But what I thought was even more interesting was the caption that he had on the video itself. And this is this caption right here. So this is from his TikTok. And it says Ashker the Great 24. That's his TikTok. And the caption says, "Massa, please, Oz will be a good boy. Hashtag Valdosta State University." So basically now he's mocking the coach. And it ended up going viral. So what I'll probably do is, well, I won't do it on this video, but I'll probably look at the comments under that video and see what the people are talking about, considering the video went viral and got shared 464,000, probably more by now, times since it got posted. But this is the other story that I wanted to bring up. I had to go back a few years back to early 2020, might I add, January to be exact, when this story happened. I'm sure many of you remember this story. I think I might have talked about it, where it says student will be barred from graduation unless he cuts his dreadlocks. They literally was going to keep him from graduating unless he cut his locks. Now we can look at the length of his locks right here and tell that he's been growing them for quite some time. One could argue that he might have been growing them since his freshman year. That's probably when he started, which means the school had seen him going throughout this school with his hair like this. But it's at graduation when you decide to make a mountain out of a molehill. But he ended up, but the thing is, he was valedictorian. So he was graduating top of his class, high honors, all of that good stuff. And they literally made a big deal out of it. So much, in fact, that because he didn't comply with their so-called dress code policy, which there are a lot of discrepancies in that when it comes to black people, they ended up suspending him. Like, they went as far as to suspend him. But the story ended up gaining traction. It went viral. I believe that the kid ended up going on Ellen, and Ellen had gave him some money, maybe like some scholarship money or something along those lines. And he ended up becoming social media famous because a lot of famous people started reaching out to him, you know, because the story had spread pretty far. And it ended up embarrassing the school, that the school ended up having to drop that whack, whatever they had going on over there. And he ended up graduating as valedictorian, and he went on his way and didn't cut his locks. I keep telling y'all, that so-called dress code policy, isn't it interesting how that always falls upon black people? And because they always include the hair into the dress code policy. And notice who it always goes after: black people who have their hair in their natural state, whether, they have braids, if they have locks, cornrows, twists, however black people typically will wear their hair in its natural state. And it's always there. Unless they have the ball cut for the men, or a low cut, a fade, maybe even some waves, maybe a little slight fade for the men. Or if the woman is wearing a weave or a wig, then they're fine with that. But whenever it happens with locks, cornrows, twists, braids, so on and so forth, then it's always seemingly this issue always comes up. And that's not by coincidence. That is definitely by design. But you can see all these other individuals come up in there, coming up into their place of employment looking like they just rolled out of bed, and nothing happens. Basically, what that coach did to that player was nothing more than modern day buck breaking. Of course, not to the extent of how our ancestors got buck broken, but in a whole nother form. There's many forms of buck breaking, and that's what he did. He basically made this guy conform to say, if you want to stay on this team, you got to change your look, and I hold all the cards. If you don't want to comply with my rules, even though they're not documented or written down anywhere, they're just coming off the fly, I can get you kicked off this team. You'll lose your scholarship and you might have to drop out. Boom. There's your modern day buck breaking right there. But I don't know what's going to come of this story. I don't know when this video is going to be up. It's going to be a few days before or a few days after I recorded, of course. But like I said, this happens more often than not. And like I said, there are black men, black boys who fall under the hair discrimination thing as well. As not just the women. It's typically the women, but it's not always them. And this is a perfect example right here. I gave you a current one right here, and I had to reach back 3 years to give you another one, even though I guess you could say that's still kind of recent, but the same thing pretty much happens. And I'm glad that he did at least record it and that it did go viral, and we'll see what happens from this. But I'm not holding my breath if nothing happens to this dude. They say they're going to look into it, but are they really? They always say they're going to look into something, but they don't even dare get up and try to they wouldn't even get up to get a damn magnifying glass, let alone just look at it with their own eyes. But we shall see. So I thought I was actually done with the video, and then I came across this new post that Ashker made on his TikTok, which is supposed to be a response or a memo or a message from the coach to him, from the coach and his wife. And let me also just add this little piece in there. I think that article had it wrong when they said Jacksonville State, because I was looking at his jersey, and I said I don't think it's a Jacksonville State. It is a Jacksonville State, but not what I thought it was. I think he actually did go to Jackson because of the colors, and then I saw JSU Tigers in the background, and the tiger is their mascot. So I believe he did go to Jackson State. But anyway, back to this right here, and this is from Ashker's TikTok, and this is message from VSU baseball coach and his wife concerning the Ashker Akridge incident. He said, I have had and continue to have death threats. I have been called multiple times in the middle of the night and been called horrible things. I've been advised to move to a hotel for my family's safety. The facts have to be told. The player played at Seminole State and was kicked off the team. Now it seems like he's just throwing digs at him at this point. He says he then played at Jackson State and was a walk-on at VSU. In the middle of the 2023 season, he quit the team because he thought he should be playing over Crawford, center fielder, and or Gandy, right fielder. He has a year ban from the NCAA and cannot play any games for a calendar year from another incident. He was never suspended, kicked off the team, or benched for not cutting his hair during the season, even though in the video you clearly said that reason you kicked him off the team. If you had kicked him off the team for anything that you said before that, then why did you say that in the video that he needed to change his hair length and all? See, he's just blatantly lying, even though the proof is out there in the video, and he's still lying on this dude. Again, I'm white, and I say so working in full effect here. He said he is not being allowed back on the team because, number one, he didn't follow all team or NCAA rules while on the team. 2, he quit the team midway last season. And number 3, he's a walk-on that would not be allowed to participate in any games for a year. All this was discussed on the phone with Ashker several weeks before Ashker showed up to the coach's office. The public heard approximately 2 minutes of a more than 20-minute conversation. Please ask me anything and I will answer you. I want you to know the full story, but please do not be hateful. So that was a message from the actual coach and his wife, so to speak, that he had replied to back with Ashker. Now, I'm not going to play the whole video because this is actually a screenshot of a video. If I was actually to click this button right here, it would start playing, where he gives like a response to what is said in here. But the reason why I'm not playing it is because it's 8 minutes long. It's an 8-minute response. And something just tells me that this coach just has it out for him. It feels personal at this point for reasons we may know. For him, he's going to probably say for reasons unknown. But see, you brought this on yourself. You're going to sit up there and tell this guy that he can't play on the team because of his hair. Then you're going to double down and lie and give all of this BS in this long, lengthy paragraph of why he was kicked off the team. Yeah, so it's pretty much like that's where it's at right now. And I'm looking at the comments on the side, and it's people saying that it's no need for you to address them. The video was enough to sue them for discrimination and defamation. As far as I'm concerned, that's really all he can do at this point. But let this be even more proof, because he's trying to lie and defame you. But after this, it's probably best he doesn't go any further with a back and forth between him and this coach, because who knows where that could actually lead to. He has the video proof that the coach said what he said. Y'all all heard the audio at the beginning of this video. It's been shared and circulated. I looked at it. It's actually now 478,000 plus times it's been viewed. So it jumped well over 10,000 since it first went viral. So this thing might crack 500K by the time this video gets uploaded and y'all see it.